So we are coming up on the end of the year, and at the end of the day, I feel like we're at a point now where it's about reflection, it's about recharging, it's about resetting, so that we can really make the next year the best year, but kind of start that process now in 2023. What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of Financial Freedom Fastly. I don't know why I did that. My hat looked crooked. The quicker you get to your dream life, the longer you get to live it. And I'm your host, George Acheampong. And I'm super excited because just, 5 short days ago, we threw the most important event of the year, the most important event of my career, the Melanin Money Awards. Donna, you got to show them a little bit of that, man, because it was a vibe. And I hate if y'all missed it, but man, it was super amazing. And a lot of people had a lot of fun. And most importantly, we set the tone for the culture. Also, my team blessed me and surprised me with the Blueprint Award, right? The Millionaire Blueprint Award, which was completely a surprise, an incredible honor and a beautiful moment. And so I'm still feeling good off that. So I'm gonna keep that energy going with you guys here. All right, so we are coming up on the end of the year, and at the end of the day, I feel like we're at a point now where it's about reflection, it's about recharging, it's about resetting, so that we can really make the next year the best year, but kind of start that process now in 2023. So I want to go over some of the best practices, and things that I do to enable me in order to really set the tone for my year. And you can too. What I realize is that what you don't measure can't get mastered, right? If you don't measure it, it will not get mastered. So what I want y'all to do in 2023, right, heading into 2024, is I want you to go through a process or exercise I like to call my Champions Checklist. Now, inside of our community, the Melanin Millionaires Club, this is actually a resource that we provide. But I'm going to talk you guys through it so that you can put something together on your own if you're not in the club or you don't decide to join, right? Because that's what this platform is for. Free game, right? No sauce sold separately. So the Champions Checklist, the way that we do it is essentially we have this template and it allows us to put in all of our activities Monday through Sunday, right? And this is not just for finance. This is for your spirituality, for your health and wellness, whatever the case might be, your career and business. There's different categories. And then you can put what the task is and what the category that it's linked to. Then there's another column where it says yes or no. And then ultimately what you're able to do is over the course of a week, you'll be able to identify like if you actually did what you said you're going to do. Now, what's really powerful about it is it makes it binary and it makes it trackable. When I say binary, I mean it's black and white. A lot of people are busy. A lot of people are getting stuff done, but are you doing the things that actually are moving the needle? Right? So with this exercise, it allows you to measure that because it's going to give you an actual score, right? So, and the score is going to tell you whether you're meeting expectations, if you're not meeting expectations, or you're exceeding expectations, right? And that will let you know how you're trending. And so the good thing about this is instead of having played the guessing game on like, was I productive this week? What does the data tell me? So again, you don't have to follow that exact same recipe or use that exact same template, but you can follow a similar framework. It's like, okay, how many things that I said I was going to get done this week across different categories? How many did I do? And I can do simple math to see if I passed, if I failed, or if I really, really crushed it, right? Simple math. So for example, if you said you're going to work out 5 times this week, right? And you miss one of those workouts, then you got an 80. Right? That's a C. You missed it twice, then you failed, right? When you think about your how things are graded in school. Now, working out 3 times is better than working out none, but relative to the standards that you set, it gives you this binary way to determine if you're hitting your goals, right? Conversely, if you said you're going to do something only twice in a week and you did it once, then you got a 50. Right? So the more activities you have for a particular category, obviously the easier it is to still meet expectations. But ultimately, by and large, you just want to do what you say you're going to do. So what is the concept of that, whether you decide to follow that framework or that template? The concept is I need to have an objective binary black and white way of measuring my success, right? The other really good benefit of that is that ultimately it allows you to be able to track trends over time, right? Because what we do is we have it in an Excel sheet, and then we just duplicate one of the tabs, and then we just do it for this week and that week and that week and that week. And so let's say you had a time in your life or a time during that year where you were clicking on all cylinders, you got a time where you fell off, you can go back and reference what were you doing in the season when everything was working right. Now you could try to organically remember it, or you could track it, because organically, right? Like, that's a good idea. The brain is a great place for thinking of ideas. It is a terrible place for storing them. So having this trackable way of measuring your success 100% will improve your odds of winning in 2024. All right, guys. So another thing that I do, and I'm really big on Excel sheets and calculators and formulas. I'm a numbers guy. So of course I am, right? I have something called a life value calculator, right? A life value calculator. And the life value calculator helps you determine when you should be delegating something versus doing it yourself, right? When you should consider buying something versus trading your time for it. Like it really just gives you a pulse, right, on the value of your life, right? And the reason why it's the value of your life is because it's the value of your time, and your time is what makes up your life, right? So let me give you an example. You'll hear a lot of internet gurus say, delegate everything, don't do anything, right? Only do like high level activities, don't do minimum wage activities. And I get the sentiment and I respect the logic behind it. But in reality, right, you might not be in a place where it makes mathematical sense to delegate everything. But let's kind of start from the top. And I think I talked about this a little bit on one of my other episodes on how to calculate your value. But let's just say that you make 50 grand a year, right? If you make $50,000 a year and you work 40 hours a week, and on average, that's about 2,000 hours a year, assuming a 2-week vacation, then your time is worth $25 an hour, if my math is right? So if your time is worth $25 an hour, and then you go buy a car that costs $500 a month plus $200 in insurance or $200 in gas, and then another $100 in insurance, right? Then the cost of the car is not $800. The cost of the car is like 33 hours of your life. Now that is a paradigm shifting perspective when it comes to thinking about how you allocate your money, right? How you allocate your money and what you spend your time on. Now, when we think about delegating something versus doing it yourself, same logic applies. So now that we know that your time is worth $25 an hour, right? Let's say that you are always tinkering around on Canva trying to make graphic flyers, and you realize that you can hire somebody on Fiverr who can make a flyer that would take you, let's call it 3 hours to do, right? You can pay somebody on Fiverr $20, $10 to make the same flyer. Now, what you can see is if it takes you 3 hours to do it, it's costing you $75 because your time, we just valued it, right? $25 an hour, takes you 3 hours. Now you're essentially wasting money when you can outsource it and get it done for $25. You can leverage your time to do higher value stuff. Now that's where it makes sense. Now, just because you don't like cleaning your house, or just because you don't like running your ads, right, doesn't mean you're in a position where it makes sense to delegate, right? Now there are some. This is nuance, right? Obviously, there's a scenario where something like paying somebody to run your ads or hiring a mentor is a lot of leverage because you're skipping the line in the learning curve, and because there's a direct ROI correlated with it, there's situations where that can make sense, right? Let me go hire this person who can make me more money. Let me go hire this person who's going to save me some money. I get that, right? But generally speaking, we still need to be mindful about what we are able to delegate relative to where we are in our journey and what our time is worth, right? So again, if you make $25 an hour, right, and let's say that this task to do something will take you 4 hours. So it will cost you $100, right, relative to what your time is worth. But in order to outsource it to someone else, it will cost you $500. Then maybe, just maybe, you should consider doing it yourself. Maybe you're not at a place right now where it makes sense to delegate. And again, this is not a hard line in the sand. It's not a right or wrong approach, but it does at least give you some guardrails on making some informed decisions on how to allocate your time relative to what you're trading for, or what you would trade for if you did it yourself or bought it. Does that make sense? So that's number one. Or number two is start understanding how to calculate the value of your life so that you have a better understanding of what you're spending money on and how much life you're willing to trade for it, right? Based upon the cost. If I didn't say it already, one of my favorite quotes is, the value of anything is the amount of life you're willing to trade for it. So just be mindful of that in all of your decisions in 2024. All right, number three is your life operating system. You want to know the biggest lie that everyone has told in their life? Every single person, I don't care who you are, I guarantee everybody has told this lie. Want to know what it is? I have read and agreed to the terms and conditions. No, you didn't. You scrolled to the bottom of the page, you tapped that check box, and you just signed off and kept it moving. You could have signed your life away. You'll never know, right? Now, here's the thing. So you have not read and agreed to so many terms and conditions, so many conditional agreements, right? But you haven't even set terms and conditions of your own that govern your life, that govern your decision making, that govern how people should be treating you, right? And we wonder why we're not getting what we want, especially from other people, right? Because you train people how to treat you. You can't get mad at someone doing something you didn't tell them they could not do. And when you don't show up for yourself, when you don't have your own standards, when you don't have your own set of expectations, right, then it's very hard for people to follow them because you're not following them yourself. You are the only person who has heard 100% of the lies that you've ever told to yourself. When you said you're going to get up at 6 a.m. to work out, when you said that you were going to work on your business after work, when you said you were going to do this, when you said you were going to do that, you're the only person who's heard 100% of those lies. What you have to do differently in 2024 is set and keep the standards. Keep the commitments to yourself. Honor yourself. Show up for yourself as if it is a legally binding term and condition. Because guess what? Even though you didn't read through those terms and conditions, if you broke one of them, it's a legally binding contract, whatever they might be. Or if you find out that iPhone is tracking all your data, oh my gosh, I didn't sign up for that. Yes, you did, right? So what terms and conditions and standards and expectations are you going to set for yourself? These are all things that we do in our Melanin Millionaires. Well, I just did a fire class on this, but which is why I had to bring some of this sauce to the Financial Freedom Fastlane family. I just did a class on this, right? And I went a little bit deeper. Like we talked like almost 90 minutes on how you can show up for yourself in 2024 so that you can win, right? The reason why I was able to put on events like the award show, the reason why I'm able to do a podcast tour, the reason why I'm able to throw a sneaker ball, the reason why I'm able to help people build wealth and retire 25 years faster than traditional financial advice, right? All of those things is because I set standards, and regardless of how I feel, I keep them for the most part. I'm human, but for the most part, I have a really good track record with upholding my own personal standards. Right? And the last one, I like to call it 15 protocol, right? So most months have about 30 days, give or take, right? And so what I realize is that whenever you play sports, right, no one goes into the game expecting to lose, right? They might be going in as the underdog, but nobody goes in expecting to lose. So you go in with a game plan, believing that you will win. Now at halftime, one or two things is happening. Either you are meeting your expectations, right? Or three things: exceeding your expectations, or you are not meeting your expectations. I guess more simply put, either you're winning or you're losing. You're ahead or you're behind. If you are behind, then guess what you have to do? You have to make halftime adjustments, right? You have to make halftime adjustments so that you can still win the game. Because how crazy would it be if a sports team was losing at halftime, right, and then came out after halftime with the same energy, or came out just like, oh well, I'm not where I need to be. I guess I'm just gonna lose. That would be crazy. But a lot of us do that in our life, even unintentionally, because we don't have a plan of checking in and recalibrating to see if we are on track, right? Are we still on track to what we said we were going to do? If so, great. Let's keep doing it. Can we win more? If not, what tweaks, what adjustments, what changes are we going to make? So what I want you to do differently in 2024 is I want you to start doing 15 protocol or halftime check-ins every chance you get. You have a 7-day week, you need to be checking in after Wednesday, right? You got a 30-day month, you need to be checking back in on day 15. Where am I relative to what I said I was going to do? Because what we don't want to do is look back and it's too late, right? The month is already gone, and now I'm trying to move it to the next month, and the next month already got its own set of tasks and objectives and priorities and responsibilities. So now I'm just compounding on the likelihood of me not getting the desired result, right? Maintaining is easier than transforming, right? A lot of people get behind the 8 ball, so they don't get a chance to like just be able to continue to do what they're supposed to do. And then that's why it's so hard to play catch up, right? Do what you're supposed to do at all times. The beautiful thing about integrity is most people won't know, but you will. The question is, are your standards high enough to care that I'm going to do what's right, even if no one else will know otherwise? All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Financial Freedom Fastlane. As always, remember, the quicker you get to your dream life, the longer you get to live it. Freedom is for sale if you're willing to pay the price. Peace.